How many championship football games are you going to watch this weekend? They've really taken over Friday night as well. So
it'll be hard for me because I'll be at one.
A little bit of intrigue. You'll be in Dallas, so that'll limit.
Yes. So who's the middle one?
The middle game,
because I'll be working at that point,
is the SEC game, Georgia and Alabama.
And then what's the later one?
Primetime, Indiana and Ohio State, and Duke and Virginia.
Okay. Well, I'll be either at a sports bar or sitting in my hotel room at that point.
Either getting dinner.
Yeah.
But either way.
Right.
Indiana, Ohio State, battle of undefeateds. I find that intriguing, although obviously they're both going off to the playoff anyway. So,
you know what it reminds me of when they first introduced the wild card in baseball, and it was like the last 3 games, and it was like the big pennant stretch. And I think it was the Padres and Dodgers.
Yeah,
and both teams were in, and like in the 5th inning they subbed like it was a spring training game. Like, I'm not used to this.
The Padres swept the series and won the division, and everybody went to the playoffs, and it was like, okay.
Right.
it was odd.
Right.
It was like, beat the Dodgers, which when I was a kid growing up, the only thing bigger than that was when the Raiders came to town. It was huge, but it was like it was the biggest thing that didn't matter that much.
Right, and they started subbing, and I felt like I was back home at Scottsdale Stadium or wherever.
Watching a spring training game.
And they got their couple of at-bats. And then go jog and run and go play golf.
I can't imagine that 7-5 Duke is going to be 10-2 Virginia and then not be ranked, and they're going to be 2 G5 teams getting in front of Duke.
Well, you know, I kind of would like to have that happen, though, because wouldn't that lead to maybe some more change? Now, maybe some more change that is negative towards the G5.
I think it would absolutely lead to more change. I think it would lead to a change in the way tiebreakers are done. I think multiple leagues are looking at it and thinking we should just go to the highest ranked teams and give ourselves the best chance at either getting into the playoff or getting a first round home game or getting a bye, whatever it is. I think that the fact that tiebreakers could have been a massive factor in the Big 12, but they narrowly averted it. They were a year ago. The Mountain West has a massive tiebreaker with 4 teams, the ACC with 5. I can see all these leagues switching their tiebreakers. And then I think to your point about does this playoff go to 14, 16, 24 teams? Yeah, that too. I can absolutely see that happening. I mean, we have to wait for the Big Ten and the SC to stop wrestling with each other. But
there may be so many public outcries that they just say, oh, the heck with it. Let's just do it. Get these people off our backs. We're going to have our teams in. We're going to still win. We're going to roll in the money.
So right now, if you put in, you're moving the bag back at first. We've already seen it going from 2 to 4 to 12. We're still having arguments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was 2 versus 3. It was 4 versus 5. And now it's 8, 9, 10 versus 11, 12, and 13.
But those legitimate arguments.
BYU, Miami, Texas, Vanderbilt, if there were 4 more bids, I assume those are the 4 who would get in. Those are the next 4. So then you'd have Utah, USC screaming, hey!
Only you'd have them screaming if somebody in their category got in. Why not us? That would have to happen because that's the deal with 12 right now and BYU being left out. You're having teams in their category get in and you're not. And what did you do? What Larry Johnson did that Karen Malone have not did. And so that's a real argument. It would have to be if somebody got in over you.
Why is 3-loss Texas getting in over 2-loss Utah?
Right. And then at that point, but I think the argument today is far more legitimate when it was 2 or 4. Because once you went down that road, you knew that you were inviting all sorts of controversy. It was going to happen every single year. This one here, we thought maybe it would smooth it out a little. Well, now we're finding out, no. We moved the bag back 2 feet, and we still have.
And we still have a bang-bang play at first base.
Right.
If it were 4 teams, you'd have Ohio State and Indiana at 12-0, one of them about to be 12-1. The winner would obviously be in a 4-team tournament. Would the loser be in You'd have a bunch of one-loss teams: Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M. Although you'd only have Georgia and Texas Tech out of that group, and BYU. They're down so far, I didn't even see them. Though you have 6 teams at 11-1, 3 of them playing in championship games, and 3 of them not. If I'm doing that right,
but it would be understood from BYU's perspective that you would have to go undefeated because we've already been there, and they knew.
You don't think in a 14 playoff the Texas Tech BYU winner would be in? BYU wouldn't.
What do you
They're
mean
too
the
far
Texas
out.
Tech BYU winner?
In a Big 12 title game, you've got 6 teams at 11-1. Would the winner who got to 12-1 make a 14 playoff? Or would they pass on a 12-1 Big 12 champ and put in an 11-1 team, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, who wasn't in their conference title game?
Yeah, I think there would be. But the point I was making is that those teams, when BYU was independent, it's like, okay, we have to go undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when they suffered a loss, it seemed like, well, what are we playing for?
Right.
So the parameters, even though they were not literal regulations and rules written on a piece of paper, it was understood, right? Here, we thought...
We thought 11-1 would get teams in.
Yeah.
Once it went to 12 teams.
Right.
And it did last year.
Right.
And we thought it would this year. I said it aloud on this show, and it's going to turn out to be wrong.
Most likely, yes. And so that's why I stand by my argument. The controversy and argument is louder now than it was when it was reduced teams getting in. And it, in my mind, and maybe this is off, but in my mind thinking, well, if you just move the bag back now we move it back 3 feet, then we're good.
Well, at some point there will be a big shrug of the shoulders like, you're 7-5. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
but we're already getting there. I mean, you got a 9-3 team arguing they should be in. And I can remember thinking, oh, if you're a 2-loss team, you got to quit griping.
Well, I think they should argue. I think Sarkisian is doing the right thing for his program.
Oh, yeah, 100%. This is part of what he gets paid for. Mm-hmm. It is as much as it's his job to recruit a 5-star quarterback and then coach Arch Manning up. It's also his job to get out and advocate for his school. 100%.
He has valid points. Now, he's just overlooking the Florida loss.
Yeah. Well, he's overlooking the points that don't help him.
Right.
He's arguing his case. He's like a lawyer arguing his case.
And that's what's going to keep him out.
Yeah.
If they're out. Whereas they've had some seriously quality wins here.
No question. Totally agree.
And the problem is, and he's had the big time quality loss, and they're getting credit, and I think they should get credit for playing Ohio State.
Can't ding them for it. We all want to see big games. We can't penalize people for big games.
Right. I was in L.A. at that time, and I'm walking. We park up by Sepulveda, walk down to Hermosa, and you've been there, and they closed off that street years ago, and now all those bars came onto the street, so they have outside seating, and you could hear the screams. Before you could see it, you could hear it. And my buddy's with me, and he says, "Oh, what's that?" And I said, "That is either a Texas fan bar or Ohio State fan bar."
And something just happened.
Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, I hate Ohio State, so I hope it's the burnt orange that I see. And sure enough, when I got in vision, it was red.
It was Ohio State.
Yeah.
That 14-7 game, you know, Texas offense looks terrible, Arch Manning looks terrible, and now you look at their whole season, and that is hands down the closest game they played. 7-point game.
Right.
And Illinois was 18, Washington was 18. The Michigan game, ironically, was 18. They played a lot of 18-point games. It's an unusual number, but there you go.
And I'm
Nobody else has come
conflicted
closer.
on college football. It's still screwed up because you should allow teams to develop and progress and get better.
So they're credited for the early season wins, but they don't have the early season wins devalued, and then if they won't play you, you're just not good enough.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to put 5 other things on there, and I would have to say, yeah, I get it. You want the best teams, and can I argue that Notre Dame is among the best teams right now? even though they had the 0-2 start, which was why by a total of 4 points.
Yes. Miami was 3, and it was a 1-point game with A&M.
And I heard somebody say, well, if you remember that A&M, that last touchdown, I think the linebacker for Notre Dame was a flagrant holding call that they swallowed the whistle. So you get on and on. Your head spins on all these things and all these what ifs and who knows, blah, blah, blah. And in the end, not necessarily the little guy, but the smaller guy is going to get hosed. And that's what we're going to see with BYU. They're not the little guy, they're the smaller guy compared to these other programs.
That's all true. These 1- and 2-loss teams that aren't getting in. I mean, Texas is a massive name, but they got 3 losses.
Right.
The 1- and 2-loss teams that aren't getting in. Notre Dame's a bigger brand than BYU. Alabama's bigger than Miami. Oklahoma's bigger than Vanderbilt.
And see, that's why I don't think it's specifically the conferences.
Yeah.
Although it is, I don't deny it.
Well,
but I think it's more about the brand than the conference.
The brand of a handful of schools is driving the brand of the conference. So it gets a little convoluted and hard to pull apart.
The brands
you want to have
are
both.
the conference.
Yeah, you want to have both. And Oklahoma has both. We're Oklahoma and we're in the SEC.
You don't need both. Notre Dame doesn't need both. That's why they've never joined.
Okay, well, they just fell behind Alabama and they're nervous. You're not, but I think they are. And I think they felt like it was unjust that they fell behind Alabama.
How do I argue with something you assigned them? I mean, so you think so.
No, I know so.
Well, all right, you got me there.
Thank you.
You talked to Father or whomever.
I did. Father Notre Dame. And Brother Irish.
And so that, and maybe you'll end up being right. We shall see. But I really believe it's the brands. And I'm somewhat conflicted because these brands, by and large, have been earned. You know, why couldn't...
But the playoff is for this year, and so
I
someone was good
understand
in 2007.
Yeah. 1967.
Yeah, for Notre Dame, 1920 and 30, whatever. Yeah.
I mean, why... I don't know why Michigan is a bigger brand than Michigan State, but I just know it is. I don't know. I wasn't even born when that thing was developing into we're a bigger brand. It's us and Ohio State. You know, why wasn't it the University of Cincinnati? Why couldn't they have been Ohio State? I don't know. How did Ohio State become Ohio State back when it was in the process of Woody Hayes? And we're going back 50, 60, 70 years.
Right.
How did that happen? So in a sense, they've earned it, but you're right. What you did historically
what you did
should
10,
have little
25,
effect on
50, 100
2025, but yet it does.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's ever going to be fixed. So I'm going to knock my head against the wall.
I can answer that. It is not going to be fixed.
And that kind of stinks.
It gets fixed if your team gets over the line and gets in. But even then, because they're starting to go to this uneven revenue sharing, so even if you get into one of these leagues, Ohio State and Alabama are going to get more money than your school.
Yeah, okay, that's just from television, though. Is Oregon really suffering that they're only getting a half share in the Big Ten?
Do you get lucky and have some gazillionaire in your backyard getting some company that blows up and they write checks to support your program?
And that's why they give them headphones and you can sit there and listen to the plays in the press box and all the stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically you just look at what Oregon did, and so Oklahoma State copied it, and now Texas Tech has copied it. And to a certain degree, BYU is copying it. And as recently as that press conference last night, go find your own billionaire.
Right.
San Diego State, we haven't found a billionaire yet. UC Santa Barbara, still working on a billionaire. ASU, seems like you guys ought to find a billionaire somewhere in the desert. It's got to happen.
Well, I was hoping Jimmy Kimmel and David Spade would do it.
Not yet.
Or, let's see, some other famous grads.
They got TV money. You need movie star money instead of famous.
Al Michaels.
Al Michaels.
David Spade's not a movie star?
I mean, he's done movies, yeah. I mean, I think of him more for SNL. But, yeah, he has done movies. He's got some movie money, for sure.
Come on, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it takes. That's what Dillingham's been talking about. He said, we've got plenty of support from the Valley, but we need
Deep pockets.
the
Deep
sugar
pockets.
daddy
Yeah.
and that hasn't come forward.